Do you hear that sky? Do you hear that sky? That is an angry sky. But it's a sky I will gladly take right now. We've been under severe thunderstorm warnings for the last 24 hours. So I'm just popping out here to do this video right quick before I get downpoured rain on again. Which I will take it because it's been so dry. We've been under a no burn order. So all burning permits have been basically shut down for the last 24 hours. Actually for the last 2 weeks. Because it's been so dry. We've had little rain. A shower here or there. But I wanted to make this video on garden tools that I use around my homestead and in my garden. My garden tools are very limited. Basically anything I have for a garden tool, I have basically inherited, given, or found in the garbage. I'm not joking. I've literally inherited it, found it in the garbage, or been given it. So I'm going to go over some of my garden tools that I use. So this is my collection of garden tools that I use in my garden on a regular basis. That includes my ancient electric rototiller. Actually, I'm missing one. The most important one, actually, that doesn't hold up to his name. There, now we got him. So this is my my garden tools, and you can laugh if you want. And so in order to garden, run a homestead, I can't be spending a whole bunch of money on fancy equipment. Basically, we don't have it to spend, so we make do with what we got. So this I did spend money for because we needed it, even though we haven't used it in a couple of weeks because one, it's been too hot, and two, we need a different wire on it so we can actually get this stuff chopped down. My weed whacker, it works great in the garden, does its purpose. Right now we're in the middle of, as we're cleaning chicken coops, mulching with the chicken manure, so we're not using it as much. My second thing I want to introduce is my little rake. You'll see it's bent. I purposely bent it like that for getting around plants, and it works fantastic. Better than a little hoe, a cultivator you would buy, say, at Home Depot. I've had a fancy one before. I snapped it in half. I've had this for a couple of years, and I usually use it to rake my hostas and clean up my hosta bed. But no, it's just a little rake. I actually have no idea where it came from. I'm thinking it came from when we lived in Alberton. I think I got it at the racetrack. Somebody left it behind when we took over the racetrack then. So I think that's where it came from. I have no clue. But I've had it for a very long time. Now, something else I got at the dollar store is my sprinkler. With my sprinkler, I can't use it like a sprinkler. Our water pressure really sucks. What I do is I use this like a nozzle you would on the end of a hose for a sprayer nozzle. I use it like that, only when you're holding it like this, like ground level with your plants, it gives it a nice coating of water. It doesn't overwater, but gives it a nice even watering. So I use a sprinkler like you would a nozzle. You've seen in another video of my electric tiller that acts bipolar sometimes, which is why it's sitting there and weeds growing around it right now, because I blew something and I think it's done its life. It's ancient. I got it from my grandparents when my uncle sold the house, so I inherited it, but it's done its job. It's done its job for a very long time. And then you'll see this cluster of ancient gardening tools. My short fork which is this one. I use a ton. That's how I dug up my entire garden, was with this fork. My long but short handle spade, I use that mostly for when I'm digging plants or digging things up that needs a good deep digging. Like, I'll use it in my garden itself, and then I'll use my little Dollarama spade for in my actual pots. But this is for when I'm digging directly into the ground, into the garden. My fan rake I use quite often for raking up the grass clippings or raking the weeds up once I pull them so I can gather them, or for spreading mulch. I'll use my fan rake for doing that. And my hoe, basically when I'm using the hoe part, you'll notice it's ancient too. All these were free and basically came from the garbage. People threw them out. To me, they still had lots of life in them, and we took them home. I'll use it to fluff the soil upon planting. When I'm getting ready to plant, then I'll use my hoe to break up the soil a little bit more, add my fertilizers, add my compost. I'll use that. So yes, you can have a successful garden. Mine's not the prettiest of gardens. It's very overtaken by weeds. I'm not scared to admit that. But my garden is very, very functional. I'm getting lots of beans. I've got my cot bed frame that I use for trellis full of cucumbers right now. I've gotten tons of tomatoes on all the plants. They're just loaded with tomatoes. I've had tons of turnip come out, lettuces. I've had spinaches, kales, radishes. You can still see some of my lettuce and my new beans that are coming up. I also have pumpkins right there. So when those lettuces are ready to be out, the pumpkins will get more room. Also, before the pumpkins actually start growing big, all these beans will be taken out because they're going to start putting beans on any day now. So yes, you can have a successful garden with the bare minimum of tools. And you'll see right there laying beside the house, those are my greenhouse tarps. The disaster of a greenhouse I had in April, that's it right there. Like I said, I'm not a person, I throw a lot of things away. So when I was hardening plants off, I used that shelf. I took my greenhouse top and I threw it over top of it. Done deal. It let my plants harden off, and I still got my 80 bucks out of it. It's got lots of life in it, and I'll probably continue to use it that way until I can afford to build a new greenhouse. So yeah, that's how you can have a successful garden, which is bare minimum tools.